Hey everybody, it's Stephanie Ward at fireflycoaching.com, and I'm here today with an inspiring entrepreneur, Jitske Kramer. Hi, Jitske.
Hi.
And before we dive into everything, I wanted to read a brief biography so you know more about Jitske and what she's up to. Jitske Kramer is a corporate anthropologist who travels all over the world, learning from traditional healers, leaders, surprising innovators, and random passersby. She's a best-selling author and has written many, many books. She has a new one coming out. She's also a well-known speaker, and she's the founder of the company Human Dimensions, which she founded 18 years ago. And today we're going to talk about how she has marketed her business from the beginning until now. And hopefully we can learn some things from her. Tell us what you have been doing since you started.
Well, I never thought about marketing. I just do what I do. So I'm an anthropologist. I'm very curious about what I do. And when I started as an independent coach consultant. And I thought, well, the best way for people to hire me is that they get to know me. So I started Googling for a call for proposals, so to speak, at conferences, and offer my talks. And that's what I did. So I started off in conferences, and then I was like in like this small room with 6 people, like, somewhere at the program. And from there it just kicked off, because every time there was someone who liked it and who spread the word. And so slowly but slowly I got into the main stage. So now I'm on main stage, and meaning that the talks about my work are now my main business. So it's also a shift in the type of business. And so yeah, basically that's it. And from the very beginning, everything I make, I believe that we need to make the world more beautiful in many ways. So that means that all the material I make and every content I put out needs to have some beauty in it, not just in the wording, but how it looks and how it feels, and it's human. That's human dimension. So there needs to be a human touch to it.
I love that. Yeah.
So that was like very concurrent from the beginning. So from the first money I got as a starting entrepreneur, I created very nice notebooks and pens to hand out. So it was very aware of to put something out there. And I remember that when I was starting as a speaker, I came across a workshop from an American lady, and I can't remember her name. I just remember that her marketing strategy was, and she had us repeat it like 30 times in 4 hours. Every time she gave a talk, and then we all had to stand up and then shout this phrase, which to me was very funny. But the phrase was, make sure that your name, they got what was it? Your name got to be everywhere, something like that. So I kind of thought, okay, then and then attached to the content, so what I'm good at. So at one point I started writing. So now I'm working on my 9th book. But the first one was obviously the first one, and then no one knew who I was, so I just had the book out, but didn't mean that people actually bought it.
Right.
So I have to kind of tell them. So everything I do is driven by content. That's it. So if you put a strategy on it, it's content marketing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Let's go back to the beginning with the speaking. I find that fascinating because you said you reached out to people. So were you nervous at all, or was it an obstacle on connecting with those people, or not at all? It was just easy. You just said, "Hey, I would love to speak."
Yeah.
And that was okay. And
Yeah, at that time I was a trainer, so a trainer consult. So I was in the room with people like 4 days a week, with 12 to 20 people, and I wanted to make sure that because I was in a company before, and then I started for myself. So yeah, so to have people know that I do. So I'm comfortable with groups. That's not an issue. The nerves is, am I good enough? Do they like my story? Because if you're booked at a conference, in this case, not paid, lucky that I can be there, and then you're somewhere at the program, like a very unusual time slot.
Right. 5 o'clock
5
before
o'clock.
drinks.
Yeah. And then you're in that room, and then it's like the birthday party. You're not sure people coming. That's the nerve-wracking
Yeah,
thing.
right.
And then
Okay.
the room is like there could be 50 people in the room, and there's 4. What do
Yeah,
you do? And then just okay, there's 4. I'll work with 4.
right.
So that the nerve-wracking thing was more if like I said, everything travels through content for me. That's what I want to share.
Yeah.
What if they don't like my content?
That's a great point. Yeah. Well, so I just want to point out for people listening, because different people have different blocks, right? For someone, it might be that part of reaching out and they're super confident about the content. For other people, they might think, well, the fear of not having enough people there. And what I love about your approach is, I think, is you're just like, look, I'm going to start somewhere. So you're starting for free, number one. And then, you don't know how many people are going to show up. That is nerve-wracking and scary. But whoever does show up is going to get 100% of what you have to give. And that
the thing is,
Mhm.
it picked up quickly. So so at one point I was doing a lot of work in the Netherlands, in the north, in the south. I was traveling all over the place, and I thought, well, no, either I want to work within like my home area, or I want to go to Dubai or something. Like
Right.
I felt like not like this constant being in the car. So then that evening I started Googling call for proposals Dubai.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And then I found one. It was a HR conference for police officers, and somehow they were asking people to present. So I said, hey, I'm here. I know I can present about international teamwork, because that was my main topic at the time. And they said, well, you can come. So I was there, and then they had the right key code, so you could meet the right people. And from there on, I was booked in Jakarta, and that was it was not with a fee, but all the expenses were paid for. So I was in Jakarta, and there I met other people. So it's really just getting out there, and so yeah, it is for free, but it's not like whatever. It's very focused,
very strategic, and also with a goal and a path that once your name gets built up and you get, audiences growing, that the money will follow there.
Yeah.
How did these, like, for example, was there a connection between Dubai and Jakarta, or how do you nurture or discover your network? How did the Jakarta thing come about? Did someone just find your website, or did they get a referral?
No, they were in the room.
Oh, they're in the room in Dubai. Okay,
Yeah.
love it. Okay.
So that's basically, I think, how it works. So deep democracy is a method. It's a way of getting into inclusive decision making. And what I do, like you said, I travel the world. So I came across that method, and it's originally from South Africa, and I decided to specialize in it. It hardly had a footprint in Europe. It was just starting. So I kind of brought it to the Netherlands, wrote a book about it. That's around 10 years ago. And that might be a good example. I was a trainer, consultant, working from home, stumbled across this really wonderful method, the Lewis method from Myrna Lewis, and felt that everyone needs to know this. So I wrote a book because it wasn't there yet in Dutch. Started doing training courses, kind of forcing my friends to be in the room. and and it just started growing. And then the book started growing, and the training course started growing. And the only thing looking back, that was strategic, but at the time it was not. I was just talking to my peer group, but there was some small thought that if I make this method for the coaches and consultants, they'll spread it because they'll be in different companies. If I write the book for leaders, it will stop in every corner because it will just stay within one organization. So that was kind of a strategic choice, not like real strategic, but kind of. And it happened. So all in the beginning, only trainers and facilitators and coaches starting to come on the courses. And then obviously they worked in companies, and then leaders got involved in it. And I said, what kind of thing is that? So now we have more. Now, 10 years later, the name and the method Deep Democracy in the Netherlands is pretty well known. I was in a room with 150 people from the advisory boards and board of how do you call it in English? The Raad van Commissarissen.
Yeah, the people that look over the organization, we'll say it like that.
Yeah,
The board of
very high level,
directors. Yeah.
like C-level and up, and they like 75% knew Deep Democracy.
Wow.
So, and that was in 10 years. So the only thing I did was just really high quality training courses, get people on very high end in terms of quality, very well trained facilitators, putting the word out. I go on stage, I write about it, talk about it, I make small videos. If you go online, we have 1 minute teachings, small teachings where we explain the method and things around anthropology and other books I wrote, and inclusion, diversity, leadership, all that kind of, so we just give people tooling. And I know that trainers use those films or movie clips, I'd say, in their training courses.
Wow.
And then they say, are you okay with that? Do you need money for it? No, I just
okay.
go,
yeah.
spread the word.
Spread the word.
And then I trust that people come back to the source at one point.
I love that. You've said so many things I want to talk about. Like, let's just start with, well, I just wrote a book. Like that's just nothing. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And it's a big goal that a lot of people in this audience have. So how did you just write a book? I mean, I know you were a trainer, so that made the transition to speaking probably easier, but I mean, were you already writing? Was it, have you always loved writing? Did you self-publish? Did you go traditional publishing? Like, talk more about that.
Going back in time.
Yeah.
My first book, it's Managing Cultural Dynamics. It's kind of still out there, but I'd write it differently now, but you can still get it. And it's in Dutch and English. That's another thing. So I was independent trainer coach, and I had a view on how you could deal with cultural dynamics in a team, cultural intelligence, and only very good friends understood what I was saying. And it was kind of a feel of how to deal with those dynamics in teams and international leadership. And I want to develop training courses around that. And I was looking for a book to put on the reading list. And I just couldn't find it. I got really annoyed.
That's great. You create what is missing. You find the gap and you fill it.
Yeah, but at that time I wasn't thinking it's great. I was annoyed. I had 2 small kids. I had lots of things to do. I couldn't find a book. And I thought, if I got to write something. So if it's a syllabus or anything, why not make a book? So it was in, I think it was June or something, and I looked in my shelves with all the books, and I just looked at the publisher, which was, in line with all the other books I read. So I connected with them, and I said, hey, this is me. I'm an anthropologist. I have a view. I'd like to write a book. Are you interested? And then they invited me to come to speak with them. And I was very enthusiastic. So I had this idea, but very unclear yet. And then she said, the publisher, she said, well, you go write. And then we're interested to publish it. So that's what I did. So I spent 3-4 months, started writing and got some chapters out, and I sent it to her, and she invited me back. And later on, she told me that the first meeting, she didn't have the heart to say no to me because I was so all over the place. So, but she thought I'll never hear from her again.
Right. Oh my.
But when I actually pushed forward and I got the chapters out, she was kind of impressed with, wow, she's really onto it. And then she started helping me, and we got the book out. And then because I thought, well, I'm working in the Netherlands, which is fine. And at that time I was doing more and more international work. So I thought, then I need to have the book in English as well. So I hired a translator, got it translated, and self-published the English version. So I had the Dutch one with the publisher and the English one self-published.
I love that story so much, because it sounds like, your enthusiasm was a big part of what, led her to say, okay, this is interesting, go write it. But you've said it several times that, the passion, the energy, but also good content, finding out what people need to know about and learn that's going to help change a situation. And that, you just taking action too. You're not sitting around thinking about things and
Yeah.
overthinking things and then getting paralyzed with whatever fear obstacles. You're moving forward and exploring ideas, taking opportunities and being open to what's coming, but also making things happen yourself. And I think that's very powerful and inspiring as
Yeah,
well.
and in the moving forward, I only want to work with people who have this spark with their job. So because then if I work with a designer, I pick one who's really passionate about what he or she is doing. And I think that's key. And the thing is, the driver is that I have this inner feeling of what I want to do. Every book I wrote is because it wasn't written yet. So then I'll do it. And let's say for the new book coming out in April, it will be called in Dutch Tricky Tijden, in English obviously Tricky Times. First be out in Dutch, but now obviously I have a track record of writing a book. And my last book was the best sold management book in the Netherlands. Another book was Management Book of the Year in the Netherlands. So
Fantastic.
Yeah. And now in the Netherlands, most people in my line of work kind of know my name, so that worked with the American ladies. Gotta go get your name out there. And also internationally. So it's spreading more and more. And the new book is not so much targeted at organizations. All the other books are. It's more management books, anthropological management books. But this one is really about society. What's going on with all the crises, all the transformations, transitions that we're going through, and what can we learn from anthropology, a field which most people don't know about, in our daily lives, and how to go deal with the transformations and the climate change and all the other things which are blocking our societies at this moment. So that's where, in marketing terms, it was interested that the people who know me, they kind of, some are actually waiting for the book, or they're curious, which is very different from my first book, because no one knew it was who I was. But at the same time, it's a new target group.
Interesting.
How do I get to people, just people on the street who are interested in this type of topic? So this is actually the first time where we hired a marketeer to really see what is the brand of the book and what is the storyline. And it was really nice we had like 4 or 5 sessions to talk about that. And before that, I worked together with Sophie Brouwer, who is also an anthropologist, but not a marketeer. She's an anthropologist and a storyteller. So she does our online storytelling. So she's very important in terms of how to create the websites, the look and feel, the story. But everything we do, we go back to what is the story that we want to share, what are the views we have, and put it out there like a magnet. It's not a push. It's not like buy this, do this. We hardly ever do that. We just say, this is our view. Do you recognize that? Or if so, you can do this. And sometimes it's like, P.S. we do give training courses in this.
Right.
We leave that even out. It's just you'll find it. If you're interested, you'll find it. So for this new book, we are now, we spend a lot of time to really go back to what is the story behind it? What is it that we want to share? What is it that we are concerned about? Is that the same thing that potential readers are concerned about? And how, if so, how do we make sure that then they know that there is this book which is matching their concern?
Wow.
And so now it's more like conscious strategic. And it's nice to know that during those conversations, I recognize that very unconsciously, I kind of did that for the past 10, 18 years. But now it's like, okay, now be more proactive. I've never really thought of, okay, I put this project, then in 2 years, 5 years, I never did that. I'm a traveler. I just go and see.
But that works. That's worked fantastically for you. And I think what's so interesting is that all these years you have been building, like you said, for the same audience. You were very clear. This is for organizations. And so that helps when you can stay focused, and this is my target group, and this is the, the people I want to help. And then things are building on each other. Oh, it's building up, your name's getting bigger and bigger. And I think that is also makes it easier. Not that any parts of any of this is easy, but it does make the transition to expand your audience including organizations and away from organizations easier, because you are well known. So people are like, okay, Jitske has never written a book for us like this before or in this direction, but because I know of her reputation and all of her work, I'm going to read it because I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
So it speaks to the idea that, and also I love that you talked about the video clips. I mean, you're speaking, you're writing, you're doing video, you're making it bite-sized micro learnings. You're really paying attention to what's happening with trends, and even though it may not feel like it's super strategic, because of your work, I think maybe it's just like in your, cellular level that you just follow intuitively the right path. But it's amazing that you're able to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's nice that when I work with Sophie together, like it's just two very and she's in early 30s, so she's a working nomad, so she now she's in Portugal. And it's really nice that we go really from the anthropological, what is going on, what's the narrative. If we are the guide, then our clients are the heroes.
Yes.
We're not the heroes, they're the heroes. So and they're on a journey where we recognize, and some paths we already took, so we can at least explain what we've seen. Maybe the path changed, but we will share. Yeah. And help them take the steps they need to take. So it's really from a very human perspective, and make it beautiful. So put nice content out.
Yeah, you've said that more than once. Make it beautiful, and the storytelling aspect. And also, I love the part about how you choose the people you work with. You only choose people that are as passionate as you are, and because there are enough designers, right? There's 100 you could pick from. So what are your criteria for picking them? And I love that you go for the beauty, for the passion, for the love, the human part, which I am always banging on about. Be human in your marketing. Don't be, creepy. Treat other people like humans, which seems to be some kind of remarkable new.
Ever do funnels?
Down with funnels.
Don't do it. I hate that. And push, like there's now a trend. I get these emails. Hi, Jitske, I'm sure you're busy, but would you like? No, go away.
So, yeah, and you mentioned that too, with that you're not doing push marketing, you're doing a magnet, attraction, pull. Like, this is what I have. If you like it, come on in. If not, no worries.
Not for you. It's fine.
Definitely human marketing.
It's more like a concept store. So our website. So you get in for a training course, which is fine, and then hey, you see this video or a PDF, you can just use it. If not, it's fine. But this is what we offer, and if you like it, have a cup of coffee. It's more like that. And
I love that.
Yeah.
So I will include a link to Jitske's website so you can go check it out. Her concept. I love that very much. Thank you so much for all of these amazing tips you've shared. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you one final question, which is, what do you find most meaningful about the work you do?
I think we live in a world where there is lots of conflict and misunderstanding. And I think it's in a world where most people don't want that. So most people want connection and belonging and be together. And somehow we are very terrible in doing that. So in all the work I do, I try to create space for people to have safe spaces, but brave spaces, to have the conversations we need to have. And all the work I do touches on that. So I'm happy when my work sparks even a small, short conversation with your loved ones, or with employees or leaders or anyone. So to have better interactions and make brighter decisions, which involve everyone. So yeah, it's very idealistic.
Well, you got to shoot for something, right? So why not? I think that is absolutely beautiful. And I love this brave spaces. That's a beautiful concept phrase to be a part of. Okay, well, I will include all of the ways you can get in touch with Jistke in the show notes and with links. And thank you so much for your time and inspiration and sharing your story. And I know it's going to lead a lot of people to follow their dreams even better by following your example. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.